know what I like because I keep seeing these tops all over my feed. So today I'm going to show you how to make one using only 4 rectangles. This is a super simple project, so it's going to be great for beginners, and it's all elasticated, so it's going to look great on any body type. For this project I'm just using 1 meter of this really pretty ditzy floral cotton. You can use any fabric you want here, but I recommend a cotton because we want it to be light and airy for summer, and something lightweight will have a really nice drape. And you'll also need a couple spools of this elasticated thread. It's just like normal a thread, but you put it in your bobbin and it's elasticated to get that shirring effect. And other than that, we should be good to go. Making the pattern pieces is pretty straightforward because they're mostly just rectangles, so it shouldn't take long at all to figure out. And the front and the back pieces are going to be the same, so you only have to figure this out once for the bodice. First up, to make the front pattern piece, measure your bust circumference and draw a line equal to that measurement on a bit of paper or your fabric. This will be the width of your pattern piece. So for example, my bust circumference is 88 centimeters, so I'm drawing a line that's 88 centimeters long. We won't be adding seam allowance to this first measurement. Since shirring is so stretchy, you don't need it. Then measure how long you want your top to be and add 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches for seam allowance. Draw another straight line at a 90-degree angle from your first line that equals your length plus seam allowance. So for example, I want my top to be 10 centimeters long, so my second line would be 14 centimeters. Then connect the lines so you have a rectangle. Now this is totally optional, but I'm going to add a slope to the sides of my pattern pieces to accommodate the armpit area, so we don't get that weird fabric bunching in the armpits like you get with some tops. There's honestly nothing worse than a bit of sweaty old fabric bunched up in your armpit on a hot summer's day. To do the shaping, it's super easy, don't worry. It sounds a lot scarier than it is. Firstly, measure 17 centimeters or 2.7 inches from one of the top corners of your rectangle. Mark this point with some chalk or a pin. Then measure across from the side seam 12 centimeters or 4.7 inches and mark this point as well. Connect these points with a diagonal line using a ruler or just eyeball it, and repeat that for the other side, and then cut these wedges out. And that's it for the bodice piece. Super easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? The sleeve pattern is pretty much the same as the bodice pattern, we're just going to be using different measurements. To make the sleeve pattern, first measure around your bicep and times that by 2.5. So for example, my bicep is a muscly 28 centimeters, so 28 times 2.5 is 70 centimeters or 27 inches. Then draw a straight line equal to that measurement, and that's the width of your sleeve pattern. Then measure how long you want your sleeve to be and add 5 centimeters or 2 inches to that measurement for seam allowance. Draw another straight line at a 90-degree angle from your first line that's equal to the length of the sleeve you want plus seam allowance. Then connect the lines so you have a rectangle. Then to do the armpit shaping again, measure from either side of the top of your sleeve rectangle down 15 centimeters or 6 inches and mark that point. Then measure 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches from either side of the side seam across and mark that point as well. Connect the points like we did before with a diagonal line and cut them out. Cut out all your pattern pieces, so you should have 1 front, 1 back and 2 sleeves. So now you should have all your pattern pieces cut out, and we're going to set the sleeves aside, we'll deal with them later, and we're going to focus on the bodice or the top part. And we're just going to hem the top and the bottom seams just by folding the raw edges over 1 inch twice, so all the raw edges are enclosed and it won't fray. You can measure this to make sure you're folding the raw edges in evenly, but I'm just going to wing it because I'm lazy. Then sew this down, making sure to back tack at the start and end of all your seams in this project. Repeat this for your other bodice piece, so both the front and the back are hemmed along the top and the bottom edges. So I had to put my hair up because it's super hot in here, but anyway, your front and back pieces should be really clean along the top and the bottom edges. And now we're going to do some shirring. To shirr, you're going to need some of this elasticated sewing thread. I ended up using about 1.5 elasticated spools for this project, so make sure you have enough elastic on hand. Firstly, you're going to need to wind your bobbin by hand. I know it may seem like a bit of a pain if you've been blessed with an automatic bobbin winder in your sewing machine, but you need to wind it by hand or else the elastic can get all stretched out and it messes with the machine. I recommend winding a few bobbins by hand at the start of your project so you don't have to keep stopping and starting your project to wind more bobbin. Insert your elasticated bobbin into your sewing machine, making sure to leave your normal thread at the top part of your machine. Then increase your stitch length. 5 is best for my machine, but every machine is different, so have a play around on some scrap fabric first to make sure you've got it down. Start sewing on the right side of the fabric at one end of the bodice, back tack and then sew in a straight line until you've reached the other end. Back tack again and start the next line, about 1 cm or 1/3 of an inch away from the first line. Keep sewing at these intervals until you've finished shirring the entire front panel. Then repeat that for the back panel so both bodice pieces are shirred. This takes a long time to shirr both panels, so pop on a good movie and get real comfy. So it's the next day because my sewing machine ran out of thread, so I had to pop to the fabric store and get some more. But anyway, I finished my 2 shirring panels yesterday. They're looking really nice, but I'm just going to iron them down now so they're a bit more even and pressed and the gathering is a bit nicer. I find using a hot iron with a lot of steam works best. Some people say you shouldn't put the iron directly onto the fabric as it can weaken the shirring thread, but I've never had an issue, so do whatever you're comfortable with. Now the shirring is all done and looking beautiful, sew the front and the back panels right sides together along the side seam. Make sure to only sew the side seams, leaving the armpit shaping bit unsewn for now. To finish the raw edges of the side seams, I'm going to change my stitch to a zigzag and sew along the raw edges. This is optional, but I highly recommend finishing your seams as it will make your top last a lot longer and keep it from falling apart. Now we're onto the sleeves. Sewing the sleeves is a lot simpler because we won't be doing any shirring on them. Firstly, we're going to hem the top and the bottom raw edges of the sleeves. To do this, fold the raw edges of the top of the sleeve in 1.5 cm or 1/2 inch twice. Then fold the bottom raw edge of the sleeve piece in 1 cm or 0.4 inches twice. Sew both channels down. Make sure to sew on the very edge of the casing so there's enough room to insert the elastic later on. Then cut 2 pieces of thicker elastic and 2 of the thinner elastic to your bicep measurement. Then attach a safety pin to one end of the thicker elastic and insert it into the larger fabric channel at the top of the sleeve. Once it gets to the other side, pin the end down so the elastic doesn't escape. Repeat this with the thinner elastics and the smaller fabric casings. Next up, fold the sleeves in half, right sides together, and sew down the side seam. Make sure to leave the angled armpit shaping bit unsewn for now. Repeat this for the other sleeve. Now after all that hard work, we're finally ready to put everything together. First up, get the bodice and fold it so the armpit shaping bit is facing you. Then turn the sleeves right sides out and pin the sleeve and bodice together at the armpit. Make sure to match up the beginning, middle and end of this triangular shape. Then sew the bodice and sleeve pieces together. Be careful when sewing over the elastic in the sleeve as it's a lot of layers to sew through. I actually broke like 3 needles doing this project because I was rushing, so yeah, just be careful and take your time over those thick seams. Lastly, finish the armpit shaping raw edges using a zigzag stitch and you're finished. And here's the final result. I love how this top turned out. It's such a simple thing to make, but it has such a big impact and it definitely looks like something you could buy on the high street for a lot of coin. And it's so comfy because it's all elasticated, and since we added that armpit shaping, there's no need to worry about the dreaded sweaty fabric all up in your armpit. You could also try making the sleeves longer or making it sleeveless, or you could even extend the bodice into a dress if you wanted to. It's such a versatile design, so have a play around and make your dream piece a reality. I also made this matching scrunchie out of the leftover fabric, so this was almost a zero waste DIY. If you want to make a matching scrunchie for yourself, the tutorial will be out soon, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it. Ciao ciao!